All right. Well, welcome to tonight's Meet the Candidates Forum. We are joined by Jen Park. She represents Ramapo Catskill Library System. We were going to have the League of Women Voters support us this evening, but there are only 2 candidates joining us, so I think that will be fine. Again, I'm Ginny Niedermeyer. I'm the director of the Josephine Louise Public Library. I also sit on the board for the Orange County Library Association. This meeting is being recorded. We had 5 candidates that were invited to this forum: Steve Brescia, Fran Fox-Pizzonia, Michael Paduch, Joel Sierra, and Kevin Gomez. Mr. Paduch responded that under normal circumstances, he would have been happy to join us, but he's not able to at this time. So we do have Kevin Gomez and Fran Fox-Pizzonia. Fran, am I saying your name correctly?
Pizzonia, yes, thank you.
Thank you. So if you had a chance to look over the questions, Jen Park is going to keep us on track with our time. And for the first question, I'm going to throw to Fran. Ladies first, if Kevin doesn't mind.
Of course.
May I just, I
Yes.
apologize, Ginny, just to clarify, 3 minutes per question, correct?
Yes, if that's, yes. And I think,
Perfect.
you know, at the end, if it's just us, you know, we can throw in a little bit extra.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, 3 minutes per question. So the first question is very basic. It's to, of course, Fran, introduce yourself and why are you running? What do you hope to accomplish, and what people, why should somebody vote for you?
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me and for providing this opportunity. My name is Fran Fox-Pizzonia. I am running for county legislator, partially because I have not been happy to watch Orange County government be so closed to the public and closed to public participation. And by that, I mean how the meetings are held in the afternoons. Oftentimes you will see that it appears that many decisions are made long before an opportunity for the public has a chance to participate. I am a social worker by trade. I have had over 29 years working in public health and in managing budgets. And I want to really bring my experience to work on changing the culture in Orange County Legislature. I'd like to work with all parties. I think there's just way too much, not enough unifying and working across the aisles. I'd like government to be transparent. I think there's been a lot of corruption happening through and within the government, particularly at the Orange County IDA, and I think that needs to stop. I think that there's too much pay to play in Orange County government, and that's a challenge in terms of trying to create a fair process by which everyone is, you know, working and bidding and functioning throughout the government. And I really want to end wasteful spending. I think that too much people work very hard. And they're paying tax dollars and they expect a lot in return. And we're not seeing that those dollars are always being spent wisely. So we do have a lot of challenges. We've got a beautiful county, and I'm hoping that we could provide better services to the people that need services, but also protect taxpayers and their hard-earned money.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you.
Kevin Gomez.
Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank the Orange County Library Association for allowing the people of my community, Middletown and Orange County, this opportunity to have a discussion with their candidates and the vision I share and I want from my community. For over 170 years, Middletown has been the destination for families, first generation Americans, the sons and daughters of immigrants themselves coming here to the Hudson Valley from New York City and other areas in search of their American dream. It has been a place of promise where many families build from the bottom up, started businesses, build great dreams. And the question is whether Middletown will have that kind of future, whether we will have a future worthy of our past, whether generations present and future will have here the opportunity for economic growth, safe neighborhoods, and at the same time, the ability to unleash their entrepreneur spirit and pursue all their aspirations. I believe we need a legislator here that will be proactively engaged with the community, that will take a stand to bring economic relief, tax relief, to incentives for families to be able to jumpstart their businesses, that will stand for transparency and ethical government at the county level as well as the local level, and that understands that the job of a legislator is not to rubber stamp the agenda of a political boss or to represent one person, but to represent all your constituents, whether they agree with you or disagree with you, that you're going to be there fighting for them. And that's the kind of legislator I will be. I've served our community as an attorney, primarily in family court, advocating for parents and children in crisis. I've served our community in the capacity of a Sunday school teacher. And and as a school board member, serving the wonderful families of Middletown School District. And I want to now go forward and represent my community, District 20, in the legislature.
Thank you, Kevin. So question 2, what pressing issue or issues do you see in your district and how do you plan to address them? Fran.
Well, I'd like to call one of the biggest issues that we are facing right now as warehousing gone wild. We've just got a lot of building happening, and it feels like it's often happening in a vacuum without any concern for the community and how that building will actually impact the community's quality of life. Overbuilding without real impact analysis, which really disregards the protections and burdens the residents who wind up paying the price for heavy truck traffic, congestion, air, water, and noise pollution, and risks of their home values and even infrastructure. There was even a point where, because of some of the building that was happening here, people told me that their homes shook and they were worried that because they were blasting, and they were worried about their foundations cracking. And no one had actually brought those potential risks to the homeowners when they were bringing in public participation. So that is a big issue. I think what we need to do is start demanding reports from the county IDA to show that pilots are actually bringing forth the deliverables, hold them accountable to the agreements that we set forth in those pilots. I think we need to rescind pilots when deliverables are not met. I think we need to make sure that development comes with setting higher wage earning targets. Because at this point, what we're seeing with a lot of the warehouse development and the jobs that are being created, they're not creating jobs with livable wages. And that is a problem if we're looking at economic growth that's supposed to be, creating a stronger local economy. I think we need to be looking at development that complements our towns and our villages, and addressing gaps in our industries like housing, particularly senior housing throughout our county. And I'll jump right into that. I also think we need to bring in small business partners, community business associations. I think we need to work with towns and counties to really enhance our local economy growth. And I said I would jump into housing because that's the second issue that I feel is very strong concern impacting all of our communities. We've got pockets of our communities, they're struggling with either the high taxes for homeowners, to landlords that are struggling with rent collections, particularly now through COVID, and renters that are trying to keep up with the rate of cost of living and rent increases, and no pathways to home ownership. So I think that we need to start working with the banking industries, loan industries, looking at how do we support our families to become homeowners. I think we need to be looking at particularly large rental development around stabilization goals and rent stabilization.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And Kevin, same question.
I believe that our community needs empowerment. Let's empower our families, our individuals with the tools and resources to be able to be self-fulfilling, jumpstart a business, have a self-sustaining economy. Every day, year after year, we see businesses leaving Middletown. While there's been a lot of focus on the downtown area, that's just one part of a robust, vibrant community. Chase Bank is leaving Middletown next week. Our city will be without a major US bank. That's not a good sign. I believe we need to start with offering relief to our small businesses that suffered during the pandemic. For example, I would support providing small business additional time to pay the monthly sales and payroll taxes, as well as business and property taxes. I would support offering interest-free loans or lines of credit to small businesses, provide a one-year extension for renewal of liquor licenses for those businesses, as well as a 90-day grace period to pay any fees or penalties due to state or local agencies. Okay. Some of these may be state issues, but we need to work also with our state elected officials to address municipal home rule laws, so there could be more autonomy at the local level, at the county level, to address these issues and provide an immediate relief. I would support making the city of Middletown an empowerment zone. The idea became very popular with U.S. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, but with an empowerment zone, it will invite investors to come into the city of Middletown, invest in properties that are below property value. In other words, it's a form of capital gains investment, and at the same time make those properties available for first-time homeowners and families coming in. And I will support homesteading. They allow families, young couples who are buying to be able to get their first home in Middletown, their starter home, or even their dream home, if they find one within their reach. So there's a lot that could be done here, but it starts also with economic relief and eliminating the suffocating stronghold that excessive government regulations have. In some cases, if you want to start a business from your home, you have to pay thousands in fees and permits, get regulators to inspect your house. It discourages people. New York ranks last in business climate, highest in taxes, and our city community is feeling that brunch. I'm feeling that crunch, sorry. I want to see Middletown be again a city of promise and future. I don't just want to see it in pictures from the golden era from the 1930s, 20s and below. I want to see it for my children and the future. So we need somebody who will fight for economic growth, economic opportunity, that will measure the strength of our community by not what the government is actually doing for them, but what opportunities they exist, the people have to raise themselves, rise up and build for tomorrow. And I'm going to be their fighter for that.
Thank you. So question 3. Well, how would you attract small businesses to Orange County while addressing the impact of traffic volume? And what would be your strategy? So I will actually go back to Kevin, and then I'll go to Fran, if that's all right.
I believe it's time that as a county, along with our municipalities, that we start looking to building a modern and regional mass transit system. Rockland County has had already for over 20 years a public bus system that connects to different towns and villages. Right now, we are, in terms of our growth, where Rockland County was maybe 15 years ago. But in terms of mass transit, we are way behind. And actually, this is not my idea. Actually, Town of Warwick Supervisor Mike Sweeten also advocated for the same thing, in which is, if we had a bus system where they're working with our private bus companies like Shortline, or have a municipal bus system, we could make it possible for people, whether it's for work, play, or school, travel. I know families, for example, that live in areas right outside of Middletown, and for them to get to ShopRite, $40 cab ride. That's insane. Okay, it goes back to the issue of we lost our local major U.S. bank. We have people who may not have the money for a cab to go to town of Walkill, or for health reasons want a bank nearby. We need to have a mass transit system. I would like to see, maybe this is a long-term vision, a regional, they call it light rail system that will connect the cities of the Hudson Valley, all the way from Albany to Kingston to Middletown, Poughkeepsie. I'm an optimist. I believe it can be done, it must be done, and will be done, as FDR would say. And that will also make our region economically sustainable. It will bring growth. It will lure back businesses, and will help. And with more taxpayers, hopefully a lower tax burden. So these are some of the things we need to do. I think we have other means of transportation. It could decongest roads. And also as a community, I think we need to improve when it comes to our municipal parking lots. But there is the potential, there is the ability, while at the same time respecting and keeping the beauty of our residential neighborhoods. We need a little more flexibility, but long-term vision.
Excuse me. Thank you very much. Fran.
Yes, I will say that I believe that small business is at the heart of the fabric of our communities. We know that people who work and live here are committed to our communities. And I know as a volunteer, oftentimes reaching out to our local businesses for gift certificates or support or sponsorship for a lot of the events that I've ran through our schools and our nonprofits. They really are the people that really come through for us, and we need them in our communities. And I think that we owe them a debt of gratitude, and we need to support them to get many of them through this pandemic. In terms of traffic, I think if you're looking at villages and local municipalities, many of them are wanting to see more traffic, the traffic that actually will come and use their small businesses. And oftentimes there's a challenge for parking, and there's a challenge for sidewalks. So I think it's a much bigger issue that we need to come together with towns and the county and the villages and municipalities and really work together to really take a look at the data. What kind of traffic volume are we talking about? Are we talking about big trucks coming through our villages because of the warehousing issues that I talked about before? That's a separate problem. Are we talking about the fact that we can't get employees to come to work at small businesses because of the lack of transportation? Then I agree with Mr. Gomez. We need to be looking at how we can create better transportation systems for people to get to work. We've been talking about, I've lived in Orange County for 30 years. We've been talking about municipal public transportation for a long time. I'm not quite sure what's kept that from actually coming to reality. But we need to stop talking about it and actually come up with a solution, because we do have a lot of small to medium to even larger businesses that would actually benefit from a strong public transportation system. But we know that our towns and villages have challenges with incoming high congestion traffic, but it's not the traffic that I think is a negative impact to small businesses. I think it's the traffic that's the unwanted traffic. So we do need a stronger analysis of that data.
Thank you very much. So we have question number 4 already. And Fran, I'll throw this to you as well. We all want Orange County to grow and prosper. And what is your approach to providing for prosperous enterprise and employment as well as affordable housing? But it sounds like this is part of what you've been responding to, both candidates.
Right. I will say that I really feel that all of these issues are so interconnected. A prosperous enterprise, employment, housing, they really all, intersect. And, we need industry that pays a livable wage for people. And, we also need Orange County to start advocating in terms of their compensation rates. Many, many years ago, I was working in a program where Medicaid was involved, and our Medicaid rate system rated Orange County similarly to several counties way north of Orange County, whereas our cost of living was more similar to Westchester County. So we have to really write that in terms of our compensation. We need employees here to be able to be paid an affordable wage, especially if we're going to want them to be able to live here in this community. We need housing to be affordable. How do you afford housing if your wages don't allow you to afford that housing? So we have to work on all of these issues, I think, simultaneously. When we attract industry to come into our communities, I think when they're applauding themselves because they're paying $17.75 an hour for wages, I don't think we should be jumping for joy on that. I think we should be asking them to, come in with higher wages, so that we can support our young adults that are living here, and keeping them being able to work here. I also think a prosperous Orange County means that we're creating home ownership opportunities and livable, affordable housing opportunities for our young adults, for our seniors, for our young families, so that they can stay here, so that our children that go away to college might be able to come back here and come and work in an industry that actually brings them a good salary, so that they can, start their families here. So I do think it's all connected, and that we need to have, committees working together. We need to work with department heads, around the table to really look at these complex problems. We can do it because I think that we have really committed people who want to see families stay here, who want intergenerational housing supported, but we do have to bring everyone together to do this work.
Thank you. And Kevin, I'll turn the question over to you as well.
Thank you. I'll begin by saying, if we're not safe, nothing else matter. To be able to have a strong business climate in our county that will open doors of opportunity for our young people, that will give families a very good reason not to leave our state and travel down I-84 South. We need to ensure that public safety always takes utmost priority. We need to support our law enforcement, not defund funding, but make sure they have the increased and necessary funding to work. We need to support our community policing, where we have grants that allow neighborhood watches to be able to establish their own civilian patrols, working in partnership with the police department, where the local communities know the police officers and build those relations of trust and confidence. We need also to address what I would call the disastrous bail reform law that was passed by the state legislature. I will support giving our local courts the autonomy to be able to set bail for especially defendants that are at risk of flight and live outside of the county. Because we've had circumstances where if a person commits a crime here and then they go back to wherever they live in, they're likely not able to come back. We saw right after the bail reform law was passed that a person was released from jail, brutally abused and almost brought to the point of death, an Orthodox Jewish woman in Rockland County. So we do not need that here. So I believe if we could have a bail reform that will restore to our local judges the opportunity to set bail for people who are from outside of the county and are at major risk of flight, not come back to court. For individuals who commit crimes near school areas or weapons-related crimes, which under the bail reform law, some of those crimes no longer judges are able to set bail. We'll be able to ensure the public safety for our community. And for the many police officers with disappointment and left New York City, let's make it possible to take jobs in our local police departments here. Many of them live in our area. What better thing than work from home, okay, and keep our local neighborhood safe. I also believe that we need to provide the necessary educational opportunities, reinvesting and revamping the whole BOCES system, which comes under the county. Make it possible for our students to have not just the opportunity to pursue undergraduate degrees, but either as an interest or as a backup, be able to get the vocational training so they have more than one door open the moment they graduate from high school. And we need to, again, ensure that our county is one that's committed to sustainable economic growth, through low taxes, eliminate unnecessary regulations. We need to also tackle the issue of unfunded mandates, which hurts not only, especially the public school system, but a lot of the local governments, whether it be city of Middletown or some other towns and village. If you just got rid of by 40% some of these unfunded mandates, you could actually even reduce local property taxes and have more than enough money to meet the different gaps that you thought will be left. So eliminate unfunded mandates, remove regulation. Those are steps to take forward.
Thank you. So our final question of the evening would be, Fran, to you. As a new candidate, why are you better candidate for this district over the current incumbent?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm a social worker and I care about people. I've spoken to a lot of folks across District 9, and they each share both unique and similar stories of wanting government to remember that they live here, they work here, they're raising their kids here, or they've raised their kids here. They want to support their elderly here, or they are elderly, and they want to be treated with respect. They want to stay in the communities that they've lived in 40, 50, 60 years. And they want their kids to come back, and they want them to live here and secure jobs. We have very complex problems to deal with, but we need to be able to work across the aisle. We need to create unity. We need to have respect for opinions and perspectives. I think bringing in new perspectives, listening to the community, and then bringing that information to sit around the table and talk about these complex issues is very important. I think if we all believe that our goal is to ensure the prosperity of all that live and work in our communities, and we unify and work towards those goals, then anything is possible. We've got some incredible new industries here. I know some of them, there's been contention, there was some challenges, but they're here. And I think that we now can begin to really work and work with those industries and those partnerships and make them you know, encourage them to become good partners, you know, for the community. And that starts with putting people first. It starts with building our communities, that builds our economies, and that has a positive impact on all of the lives on the people that live here. We've also got incredible talent here. And I think that, you know, we can begin to tap further into all of the talent that is here for creating some of these solutions. We've got new people, an influx of new families that have been attracted to Orange County because of the beauty that is here. And they're bringing new perspectives, and we should be tapping into that information as well. I think if we embrace the differences and all of the community that live in Orange County, you know, we're going to create some really creative, we're going to create some incredible solutions. This is an exciting time in Orange County history. I look forward to working with both the Democratic caucus, and I look forward to working across the aisle because I think, you know, we're running a campaign right now, but, and I say this when I'm out door knocking to people, you know, I'm going to represent you, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent. My job is to be a public servant, is to represent you and your concerns in Orange County government. And I look forward to doing that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Kevin, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Thank you very much. I do sincerely believe that I'm the only candidate running in my district with the necessary background and experience to fight for my community. The incumbent, with all due respect, has been there 4 years. And if you look at his campaign literature, he doesn't mention a single legislative accomplishment, hasn't passed a single legislative law that will make a difference in the lives of our community. I have background in getting legislation passed. In my legal years as an intern in the New York City Council, I worked on legislation that reassessed the health clinics for children in the public schools. I helped establish the Department of Youth and Recreational Development from the city of New York that was passed almost unanimously by the city council and signed by Mayor Giuliani. I have had the opportunity as a school board member of working with the Common Council and getting a resolution passed calling on the state legislature to raise penalties for cars that pass school buses as either when children are either going on board or leaving them. Over 1,000 kids a year are in incidents in New York State. 1,000 a month, a day, are in close encounter incidents. Imagine if those all ended up fatal. I took a stand and spoke out against it. I have spoken out against the bail reform law. I worked with my fair funding committee, been before the state legislature, asking for getting rid of the unfunded mandates and reforming education law. And I have addressed issues in my campaign, this campaign, which my opponent has not addressed in 4 years: economic growth and development, tax relief, environmental conservation, family values, sanctity of human life, protecting religious freedom, public safety, vocational studies. I believe Middletown has healthcare inequity. Our minority communities are the most vulnerable, and we've seen during the COVID pandemic, when it came to the voluntary vaccination, Middletown ranked last. I would like the legislature to have a committee set up to review the response to the pandemic, not to hang any politician, no, but to see how we could do better in the future. I'm the first person that when you had the scandal that broke out with the Independent Development Agency that put forward, I was published in the newspaper, a proposals to reform the government, to have all contracts posted on the website, have an independent elected controller to ensure that our government is transparent and the finances are managed effectively. So I've been out there speaking the issues that affect my community, and I will be a fighter. I understand my job is not to be the rubber stamp of the mayor. And with all the respect, I have a lot of respect for our mayor in Middletown, but he needs a partner in the legislature who will work with him, who says, if we agree on something, let's make things better. And if we disagree, let's look at other ways, not a rubber stamp. I'm willing to be the legislature of all the people, and I will represent all my constituents so that we can have the opportunities, because when there are no limits for wealth or human prosperity, when men and women are free to follow their dreams. And that is my goal, so that all our Middletown, Orange County residents can have their opportunities, working with all my colleagues, Democrat, Republican, Independent, together, let's make a difference. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you both very much, candidates Kevin Gomez and candidate Fran Fox-Pizzonia. If you have a minute, if you want to add anything, because we only have 2 candidates, we have a little bit of time, but I think we covered a lot. So, but we're happy to give you another minute if there's anything you'd like to add that we didn't cover in these questions. Okay.
Sure. Who's going to go first?
Fran, is there anything you'd like to add?
You can let Kevin go first. That's fine.
Oh, thank you. All right. First of all, I want to thank the League of Women of the Orange County Library Association. I think these forums are important, and I would encourage them not just on election time, but maybe during the course of the year when there are different and major issues out there. I'm a strong believer in empowerment, more power to the people. And during the last year, we've heard a lot of discussion on making sure that our electoral process are fair, and I think there are many areas. I would like to see the whole system of challenging opponents off the ballot eliminated. I never liked it. I've been involved in politics since I was a high school, college student, but I never liked that. I think maybe we should consider a caucus system where the community comes into the respective party caucuses, they try to nominate their candidate, and if there's a candidate that's not nominated, they could go then in primary. I would like to see it's just maybe in a municipality where you may have one party dominate more than the other, maybe a proportional representation system so that the different political parties could compete and you have a diversity of different viewpoints. America was founded on that principle, government by consensus, okay, where we have to compromise one point or another, while at the same time standing for our convictions and principles. So I would like to see a more open process. And again, our elected officials as a legislature understand that we are accountable first and foremost to the people.
Okay.
And if I were elected, one of the things I would do is have the 20th District Advisory Committee. We'll invite citizens to sit with me in addition to town halls on the different key issues, key areas, and work with me so that their input will always be heard.
Okay.
And I will also support direct initiative and referendum. So if they want to, if there are citizens that want to propose a bill that none of the elected officials want to put on before the floor, let them do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you to the Orange Library Association for, again, hosting this forum. I agree, this is a wonderful opportunity for people to have a different way of listening and hearing from candidates. As I said before, Doors talking to many constituents, and I really want to stress that, you know, I hope conversations with you through my ways of communicating, whether it's you're checking out my website, you know, talking to other people. I hope that I've engaged you to come out to vote, because I think most importantly, it gets out and votes and practices their, you know, practices their right to engage in our democracy, because at the end of the day, that's really the most important. In District 9, which covers, we have over 12,000 voters, and in these local elections, a little over 4,000 come out to vote. So I hope that by my engagement in this campaign that I've generated some interest and that we've encouraged more people to get out and exercise their right to vote and to be concerned out in the community, you know, state level. But really, it's the local level that impacts you on a daily basis, your quality work. Please get out and vote.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Mr. Gomez and Ms. Fox-Pizzonia. I want to thank everybody for joining us on a Sunday evening. We really appreciate it. And thank you for allowing us to get to know you both. We're hoping to post the recording on the Orange County Library Association website, as well as individual libraries' websites that are involved in the districts. So we're hoping to get that together. And this is my first time. You've made it very easy for me. And I want to thank Jen Park from RCLS.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you both. No, thank you both. I really appreciate it. And so does Ramapo Catskill Library System and the Orange Library Association again. So thank you both. Have a lovely rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.